Today we are going to speak about the various services in cloud computing. That is not services, the various types of cloud computing. Earlier we saw about the data center, about the various uh, components in data center, etc. And also I have given a very brief note about the data center, its importance, its components, what is required for freshers to get a job, all these things. But as of now I am going to step into Azure training. I started with like minds or cloud overview about various cloud types. Consider resources available in the internet, and through internet the resources are getting accessed. That is known as public cloud. The resources are in the form of services like platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, software as a service. The resources are present somewhere in a data center, and from your desktop you will be able to access those resources through the internet. And those resources can be scaled in and scaled out. There are two types of scaling known as horizontal scaling and vertical scaling. Scaling means like you can add number of resources to the existing resource, or you can increase the components of the existing resource. This is known as horizontal scaling and vertical scaling. The resources are like compute, network, database, software, hardware, desktop, IoT, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. There are various types of resources. Consider private cloud. In private cloud, you have an existing on-premise data center, and on the top of it, you have either installed Azure Stack or OpenShift or OpenStack and converted that on-premise data center into a private cloud. That is known as private cloud, which is present in your on-premise or in your corporate office data center. A cloud setup running in your on-premise or corporate office data center is known as private cloud. What is hybrid cloud? Hybrid cloud means uh, you have a data center in on-premise or corporate office data center, and in it OpenStack or OpenShift or Azure Stack or Rackspace Cloud is running. And also you have certain resources, maybe testing or dev resources present in the public cloud. You access those resources from your on-premise data center or your on-premise desktop systems through a tunnel that is known as VPN. This setup is known as hybrid cloud. Okay, what are the other types of services present in cloud computing? Those are function as a service. For example, uh, already a Python code is present in which a project is implemented. A person uploads a video. That is a Python project. A person uploads a video. Once the person uploads a video, immediately an email gets triggered to the owner of that service provider. This is an example of a function as a service. What is database as a service? Consider relational database, a structured database in which you need not worry about the underlying hardware, or you need not worry about the underlying operating system. You can directly run the database from a service that is known as relational database as a service. Whoever gives you the service provider will take care of the hardware or the operating system in which your database is running. This is known as database as a service. What is desktop as a service? Consider you are having a Windows 11 laptop in which Windows operating system, obviously Windows operating system is running. At the top of it, you want a Mac OS, or you want to access Mac OS from your Windows 11 system. At this time you launch a service which is present in the public cloud, known as desktop as a service, and launch a Mac environment, Macintosh environment at the top of Windows OS. This is known as desktop as a service. Mac OS is just an example. IoT as a service, consider you have various IoT devices. Okay, and then you have various those devices have gathered a lot of data. At this time uh, at this time you need to capture these datas, and then you need to analyze these datas. For that, the public cloud provider provides you with various services known as AWS IoT Core, Azure IoT Hub, or Google IoT services. These services analyze the data and then provide you the uh, pro- needful output. Got it? For example of an IoT services, consider there is a soil, there is a agriculture land, and in that agriculture land, sensors are placed. Okay, these sensor will analyze the temperature and gather data. If you when you gathers data, these data can be analyzed using the IoT as a service. The next service is AI as a service, which is very much useful nowadays, and then very much explored nowadays, and which is very much in demand nowadays. Got it? The data is provided to this feature and it responds to the clients based on the analyzed reports. Consider you have uh, hospitals data, okay, of the person who have diabetes. Then and also it has the data of when the consider the patient should visit the hospital again. Based on that, when you give this service these data, it automatically reads the data and then it triggers email or notification to the patients, mentioning the date they need to visit the hospital again. This is an example of AI as a service. What is infrastructure as a service? Infrastructure as a service means in public cloud, you provide the public cloud provider provides you with compute or database services in which you need not worry about the underlying hardware. You need to worry about the operating system alone. You need to manage your operating system and the data that you're going to host at the top of that system. This is known as infrastructure as a service. What is platform as a service? Platform as a service means you need not worry about the underlying hardware or the operating system. You directly run your code, okay, your Python code or Java code or Node.js code at the top of it. This is an example of platform as a service. What is software as a service? In software as a service, which is provided by the cloud provider, you need not worry about the base machine, that is bare metal server, or the operating system. You directly run the software in the provided service. For example, Office 365, WordPress are examples of software as a service. Okay, this is a setup in which you have Azure Public Cloud and on-premise data center. This Azure Public Cloud consists of database servers, virtual machines, and storage boxes. In on-premise data center, you have firewall, database servers, applications, etc. You need to connect on-premise data center and then public cloud through internet. For this, you establish a site-to-site VPN or S2S VPN tunnel between tunnel in the sense a virtualized uh, provided network. Okay, virtualized provided network between your on-premise data center and public cloud via internet. This is a secured tunnel. This is a setup of site-to-site VPN. And also, if you have a in on-premise data center OpenStack or OpenShift uh, installed, then this is a private cloud and this is a public cloud. Together, these together forms the hybrid cloud. Now that we have seen about the various cloud types and about the various services or platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, software as a service, AI as a service, IoT as a service, function as a service, we have discussed all these things. In my next video, I will speak about the Azure fundamental services. Thank you.